YouTube? Hope y'all are having a solid weekend. Today is actually Sunday, and I don't usually film on Sundays. However, Lucas and I and my mom came down to the lake house to do a little bit of yard work. We're actually refinishing this deck, so that's why I just showed you guys a little bit of footage of us scraping some of the old paint off of it. Lucas is going to get some new paint on it this week, and it's going to be beautiful once we finish it up. But for the time being, it's kind of a pain in the ass. But the job is coming kind of to an end. It's almost at like the second phase where we get to paint it now. Lucas is going to deal with that. I don't have to worry about that, but that's besides the point. So today we're out here at the lake house, and it is a beautiful day. So I didn't want to waste the day. I definitely want to get some photography in today, and so let's talk about that right now. So at the beginning of the summer, I made this video where I went to this park around here. It's called Letchworth State Park. And I made a video where I did some handheld long exposures with the camera that I used to use, the Panasonic G9, and we didn't really get that great of images. And so I mentioned at one point in that video that I was gonna make it my mission this summer to get out there more frequently and to get a couple solid images there, whether it was at a sunrise or a sunset at some point this summer. And I have completely failed on that mission so far. I have not made it out there at all. I've made plans to go there like 3 or 4 times, but I have not made it out there at all to Letchworth. And so today, we're gonna get that done. All right, so I have quite a bit of time actually today. It's only like 6 o'clock right now. The sun sets around 8:15, 8:30, so I have a solid 2.5 hours. So instead of heading straight to Letchworth, I think what I'm gonna do is actually just kind of drive through the countryside and see if I can find anything cool, like a cool barn or a cool field or something like that. Maybe take a picture of my truck in a cool field or something like that. I have no idea. So we're gonna start heading towards Letchworth, but we're not gonna go directly there. We're gonna make a couple stops probably on the way there, and we're gonna see what we can find. Let's do it.
Down in the dungeon is all we know, where the shining light, we never go into the open as far as you can see it, wasting there a big bright destiny. Don't you feel like breaking free? Open your eyes, embrace what you see now.
Alright, so we've been here a couple times before in the videos, and it's a really, really pretty spot, particularly at sunset. Obviously, as you can see right now, the sun is like directly in the middle of the sky. It's not really making for the best possible light, but rather than just not taking the photo at all, I tried to right here actually just take advantage of the sun being in the sky like that. So I used this tree right here, and I got real close to it with my lens, and I was able to actually block off some of the sunlight with my lens stopped down to f/16 and actually create a little bit of a sun star with it. So what that did is it made the photo just a little bit more dynamic. Rather than just having the walkway in the middle of the photo, there's a little bit of a sun star in the top left-hand corner as well. It's not my favorite photo in the world, but sometimes even when the sun is in the middle of the sky, you can take advantage of it and do something cool with it.
What you see now, don't you feel like cutting loose? Yeah, cutting loose.
So we've officially made it here to Letchworth. I made one stop on the way here. I had to stop and get gas, so I snagged a couple photos of my truck while I was there. I don't know if they're anything special right now because I haven't seen them on my computer just yet, but here they are if I haven't showed them to you already. And so we are here at Letchworth, and I'm at this awesome spot. It's one of my favorite spots in the park. I think they call it Horseshoe Overlook because the river bends in the shape of a horseshoe, and it's very similar to Horseshoe Overlook in the Grand Canyon in Arizona, but it's here in upstate New York. I would say that the Grand Canyon is probably a little bit more exciting than this, but this itself is beautiful as well, and I'll show you guys around a little bit right now. Alright, I just took a couple images in that spot, but I just realized that today is one of the days where they actually put up hot air balloons in the valley. So that is something I definitely want to see, and I've never actually seen it in person before. I've seen a ton of pictures of it, and I don't know where the best viewpoint to see it is, but I'm going to drive a little bit further down the valley right now to see if I can get a better view of it, and if I can, we're going to get some shots of it. So let's do that. Alright, I'm not having any luck whatsoever figuring out where these things are taking off from, so I'm going to head back to that original spot where I was actually able to see them from, and I might just camp it out there, hope they get a little bit closer so I can snag a couple pictures of it. But at the end of the day, I just came here to enjoy the sunset, and those things, the hot air balloons, would have been a nice bonus, but if we can't get them, we can't get them, and I'll do some research to figure out when's a better time to come and capture them. But let's head back to that original spot and see what we can find. What's up, YouTube? So we are back at home, and that was my first official day of photography with the Leica Q. So the last video that I uploaded, I did shoot with the Leica Q, but I wouldn't necessarily call that an official day of photography because I was trying to compare this camera with the Ricoh GRiii, and I felt kind of limited creatively because I was trying to compare the two cameras rather than get super solid images. So I would say that this was definitely my first official day of photography with this thing, and I am so happy with it. For example, that first photo that I showed you guys, the one where I shot that walkway going through the moss and the sun stars in the top left hand corner, I was super happy with that photo because usually when you stop a lens down to f/16 like I did with this camera, you get a lot of diffraction, which essentially means, from a non-technical standpoint, it means that the photo is less sharp because the opening on the lens aperture is so small that the light bounces around in some way that it decreases the sharpness. Not totally positive if that's the correct technical explanation of that, but all I know is that diffraction means your photo is less sharp. With this lens and this camera, however, I stopped it down to f/16, and I, at least personally, did not notice any sharpness difference whatsoever. So I'm definitely going to be taking advantage of that more often with the Leica Q. In addition to that, I was super happy with the rest of the photos and how they came out. At the gas station that I showed you, I thought that this was a fantastic focal length for capturing what I was trying to capture, with my truck in front of the gas station and then all the different cool colors, the reds and the whites and the blues that were in the frame, contrasting the sky and the foreground gas station. I thought that this was just the perfect focal length for capturing that. And then in addition to that, at Letchworth, and sorry, my dog's running around in the background right now, so sorry if you can hear that. But at Letchworth, I actually found that this was the perfect focal length again. It was like the perfect focal length for capturing everything that I wanted to get in front of me. With the valley in front of me, it was like perfect for capturing the sky and then the creek in the bottom and then some of the trees and the cliffs surrounding it. I'm not super used to using a 28mm prime. I typically gravitate towards... Sorry, my dog's shaking himself off again in the background. I typically gravitate towards like a 35 or a 50mm equivalent, but I'm really liking this 28mm recently. So not only am I really enjoying the 28mm focal length, but just the shooting experience with this camera overall is fantastic. Like I mentioned in my last video, I love all the mechanical dials, like the shutter speed on the top, the lens aperture being right here, but also the one thing that is awesome about this is the implementation of manual focus. So typically how a rangefinder works is you have an optical viewfinder here, and then there's a rangefinder patch in the middle that'll move back and forth as you focus the lens. This obviously has an EVF, an electronic viewfinder, rather than an optical viewfinder. So when you move the lens elements in your manual focusing, it automatically crops in on the frame so that you can get really close in there and make sure that you nail the focus. I love the way that that's implemented because when you're focusing, it crops in, and then the second that you half press the shutter button, it zooms it back out so you can see the entire frame, and you can frame it up however you want to frame it up. Even though this thing has super solid autofocus, I oftentimes find myself just manual focusing for the fun of it. I love manual focus, obviously, because I've used tons of film cameras in the past, which you've obviously seen if you've watched the channel for a while, but yeah, this camera is just awesome to shoot with. Like, there's nothing that I can possibly complain about it. I love the lens. It's so sharp. I love the f1.7 aperture, and overall the build quality, the shooting experience, everything about it, I absolutely cannot complain about this thing. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna wrap this thing up here. If you enjoyed the video, definitely give it a thumbs up. It helps out the channel a ton. It helps for more people to see my videos and for the channel to continue growing. Thank you all so much for all the support over the past couple of months. I think I'm almost at 1,100 subscribers at the time of uploading this video, so I'm super pumped about that, and I really appreciate all the support. If you want to see more of my content, I upload videos like this every single week, so definitely hit that subscribe button below, and I'll plan on seeing you guys next week. Peace.